All right, welcome all. I'm now going to be continuing my NHL trades. The last video I posted, the last trade that I do believe I went over was the Tarasenko deal to the Rangers, and what a beauty of a trade that turned out to be for the Rangers themselves. So on February 17th, the Leafs, the Blues, and the Wild were all involved in a three-way trade. Uh, Two big names, obviously, Noel Acciari is very familiar with the Leafs, being obviously a member of the Boston Bruins, so I'm sure he's going to see a few familiar faces, but this time he's on their side. He wasn't the big addition. Obviously, if you've been following hockey, the biggest addition came with the St. Louis captain coming over with Ryan O'Reilly, a former Blues Stanley Cup champion back in 2019. So he has some veteran leadership. He has some grit. He's fitting in very well with his Leafs team. So there's no question that with that addition of him, that they should get over that first round hump. The Blues, in return, they got prospect Mikhail Abramov, and they also got Adam Gaudette, a former player for, I believe, the Canucks and the Blackhawks. And they also received 4 picks. And the Wild received a fourth-round draft pick as well. So even though the Wild didn't get anything in return, whenever you get a draft pick coming your way from another team, you really can't go wrong. On February 19th, the trade between the New York Rangers and the Ottawa Senators took place. A familiar face is heading back to the Blue, as Tyler Motte was obviously a member of the Rangers last year, went all the way to the conference final. So I'm sure that he would love to have a repeat performance of that. And in exchange, the Ottawa Senators got Julien Gauthier. I will just have to scroll down here really quick. He's been in the league now for a few years, so obviously I'm sure he's a little bummed out. Why is that stuck on Claude Giroux? Hold on 1 second. There we go. Julien Gauthier. So I'm sure he's a little bummed out leaving a playoff contender to go to a team that's potentially not going to make the playoffs. But moving forward, he's a great bottom six forward. So he has a little bit of grit to him as well. On February 22nd, there were 2 trades that happened that day. And realistically, I believe it only benefited one of the teams as the Golden Knights acquired, just got to scroll down here, Dyson Mayo from the Arizona Coyotes. Great right-handed defenseman shot. I'm sure he's going to fit in right well, especially somewhere in that top 6 role. And in exchange, the Vegas Golden Knights gave up none other than Shea Weber. And no, he's not playing. I believe they're just getting the contract. And I'm not sure what it is about the Arizona Coyotes, but they just seem to get everybody's bad contract. I think I seen a stat that said like they had like Bolin and they had Hossa and they had a whole like lads contract. They like to get a lot of contracts just so they can keep up with the cap. But obviously Shea Weber is not playing. He hasn't played since the 2021 Stanley Cup Final. So again, this is just more of a cap thing than it is a player actually physically moving. I don't even believe Weber even suited up or played for the Vegas Golden Knights. It was just a trade that more or less was just trying to dump the salary onto somebody else's cap. And on the same day, the Blackhawks and Senators also made a trade. And the biggest name of it, or the only real name of it, came with Nikita Zaitsev coming over from the Senators. They also gave up 2 draft picks, and in exchange, the Ottawa Senators are going to be getting some future considerations. So it could be draft picks, prospects, you name it. And the last trade to talk about, there's 2 trades that happened on February 23rd. The first one was between the Ducks and the Blackhawks. It's more of just prospects. You have Josiah Slavin coming over from the Blackhawks to the Ducks in exchange for Hunter Drew. And the biggest trade, and what is possibly very confusing, between the Capitals and the Bruins. I mean, the Capitals are technically out of a playoff spot, but they're not that far back. So it was a trade that involved, it was another 3-way trade. This seems to be very popular nowadays. The Capitals got Craig Smith, a veteran player, coming over from the Bruins, and 3 draft picks. I should have mentioned that the Wild were also part of this trade, as well as with the Bruins. The Wild got some picks from the Bruins, and the Bruins got a couple of big names coming from the Capitals. Dmitry Orlov, a defenseman, top 4 defenseman, coming this way. And then, what is his name? Garnet Hathaway, a bottom 6 guy who can obviously level out guys and obviously put the puck in the net as well. So you really can't go wrong. And with the Boston, they're just an unbelievable team this year. They believe they're the best team in the league. Who would have guessed that at the start of the season they'd be where they are at? Not me, that's for darn sure. So as of right now, the trades are now up to date. With the trade deadline coming up here in the next week or two, it's going to be very interesting to see if there's any more big names still available Obviously, you still have like the likes of Eric Carlson and Patrick Kane, who are headlining the potential trade bait. Whether they get traded or not is another question. But as always, thank you very much for tuning in. And until next time, take care.